This is All India Radio. Welcome to the business news program Money Matters. My name is Rajesh Lake and with me is my co-anchor in Hindi, Amrish Saxena.
नमस्कार। इस कार्यक्रम में हम शेयर बाजार, कारोबार और अर्थ जगत की ताज़ा खबरों को लेकर हाजिर हैं। आइए शुरू करते हैं अंग्रेजी में हेडलाइंस से।
Domestic markets plunge over 5% this week to register the biggest weekly decline in 8 months. And in international markets, US stocks also post its biggest weekly fall since October. And now the news in detail. Registering second straight weekly losses, domestic markets plunged over 5% this week to post their weekly decline in 8 months and amid heavy selling by foreign funds and a bearish trend overseas. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange tumbled 2,968 points or 5.3% during the week to close at 46,286 yesterday, its worst weekly fall since May. After scaling several new record highs in January, the Sensex has slumped 3,506 points or 7% in the last 6 sessions. The Nifty tanked 843 points or 5.1% during the week to close at 13,639 yesterday. Nifty also shed 1,010 points in the last 6 sessions. In the broader market, the BSE Mid-Cap Index fell for the third week in a row to post its biggest weekly loss of 3.6% in 4 months. And the Small Cap Index shed 2.3%.
और विदेशी मुद्रा बाजार में कल रुपया डॉलर के मुकाबले 72 रुपए 95 पैसे पर बना रहा। 22 जनवरी को एक डॉलर की कीमत 72 रुपए 97 पैसे दर्ज की गई थी।
We're joined in by Sharad Kohli, market expert at this time. Sharad, we welcome you. Hello. Sharad,
yeah, thank you so much.
You know, after contracting sharply in the first half of 2021, India's GDP is expected to bounce back in the third and the fourth quarters. While several sectors of the economy have showed signs of revival, most others still remain adversely affected and yet to get back on their feet. Going forward, what do you think is going to be the outlook of the finance minister at looking at individual sectors in the budget?
I think the budget looks to be focusing on, in a big way, on infrastructure, because that will have a twofold advantage. One, it would encourage government spending, which would put more money into the economy, more things. There are going to be contracts, the cement, the steel. So infrastructure has got a multiplier effect. That will be the first benefit. The second benefit would be that, you know, it will stir up the economy, because the economy which had slowed down during Corona, I think it will provide that boost this time. The budget also has to be a very tight
Okay, Sharad, we will reconnect with you in a while, and what we are looking at are the various SOPs that perhaps the finance minister is going to give in her budget, and particularly, you know, while talking about the sectors that she has in mind, we feel that the previous budgets have seen Indian equity investors deterred by levies, including capital gains taxes and a surcharge, subsequently rolled back. That especially hit foreign funds. So you heard me say about the equity markets, and you were Sharad, you were talking about, before we lost touch, about the sectors that the finance minister will focus on. I think the connection is still not good. Sharad, can you hear us?
Hello.
Sharad?
Hello.
Sharad, can you hear us? I think we are unable to get in touch with Sharad. However, the India's budget, which will be unveiled on February 1 with expectations that the government will boost spending to reboot an economy that's, forecast to contract the most this year since 1952. Analysts, I believe, Amrish, believe that the tax cuts, higher capital expenditure and greater spending on infrastructure projects, which tend to support low-income earners, hold the key to unlocking demand for goods and services. Sharad, can you hear us now?
There was some problem with the line. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about how everyone is talking about certain sectors, the key of unlocking demand for goods and services being spending on infrastructure projects.
Yes, absolutely. So, because infrastructure spending on part of the government has got a multiplier effect. So I think the thrust of the budget would be on infrastructure. There are two more sectors where I'm anticipating the government to focus on. One would be healthcare in a big way, because we saw some of the most developed countries in the world were found wanting in terms of the health-related infrastructure. And India, being a developing economy, an emerging economy, I think wants to prepare itself for a corona-type pandemic or for a corona-type contingency anytime in future. So I think there's going to be a lot of focus on the health sector, and then defense comes the next. I think with the tensions around the border, India wants to be fully prepared, and with the Atmanirbhar Bharat plan, where India was importing most of its defense equipment, I think the thrust on defense is going to be definitely showing up this time, because producing those aircraft, whether it is producing those sophisticated guns, artillery within the country. So I think a lot of spendings on part of the government on defense, especially with regard to Atmanirbhar Bharat plan, is expected. And the other area where I feel the government may like to think is tax relief, because, during Corona, it was found that people wanted money in their pockets. So every money saved, every rupee saved is rupee earned. So best way to put money into the pockets of Aam Aadmi or middle classes to give them tax relief. So I'm anticipating a total tax relief of 50,000 to 80,000 rupees per taxpayer in some form or the other.
Okay,
it
perfect.
It could come by way of rationalization of the new regime. It could come by way of giving some more deductions or increasing the limits of ATC, ATD, housing loan, and so on and so forth. So I think these could be the prime areas where government might focus in this budget.
Quickly and briefly about the rural India. 1.3 billion citizens live there. What can the government do to boost the consumption there?
I think the best way would be, again, I would like to go back to infrastructure, because these infrastructure projects do not just remain confined to the towns. When you talk of roads, you talk of railways, you talk of smaller airports, and so on and so forth. Every 1 kilometer of road built by the government has got a 8 times multiplier effect. The roads reach the...
I'm afraid, Sharad, I have to cut you short on that. Sorry about that. We'll discuss it in Market Mantra in the evening. Moving on, the U.S. markets declined yesterday, registering its biggest weekly fall since October as investors gauged the ramifications of Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine trial results. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 621 points or 2% to 29,983. The S&P 500 lost 73 points or 1.9% to 3,714, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 266 points or 2% to 13,071.
और चलते हैं कार्यक्रम की समाप्ति की ओर। और कार्यक्रम समाप्त करने से पहले मुख्य समाचार एक बार फिर। शेयर बाजारों में इस सप्ताह 5% से अधिक की गिरावट दर्ज की गई। 8 महीनों में यह सबसे बड़ी साप्ताहिक गिरावट है और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बाजारों में अमरीकी शेयरों में अक्टूबर के बाद से अब तक की सबसे बड़ी गिरावट दर्ज की गई।
And that's all we have in this edition of Money Matters. Do join us tomorrow, same time at 3 p.m. Till then, it's goodbye from all of us here.